Hi, I'm Zach Swingle, and I'm here with Mr. McCarroll.
Hi. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Good. Thanks.
And we're here to ask him his opinions and thoughts on overfishing and whaling. Now, first start off, what are your opinions on whaling?
Well, I'll tell you. I whale quite often when I grade papers because I'll be reading a milk and I go, no! And I whale a lot because of that. So, frankly, I'm all about whaling. I think whaling's a good idea.
No, like whaling, I said like killing of whales.
Oh, the killing of whales. Oh, well, frankly, I think killing anything's a bad idea, but especially whales. There are becoming fewer and fewer all the time, so we need to protect them.
Okay. Now, what do you think is going to happen to the environment if whaling continues to happen?
Well, I think probably eventually what's going to happen is the food chain is going to, of course, suffer because the whales are part of that food chain. So the environment's going to do nothing but be hurt by it.
Well, what do you mean they're part of the food chain?
Well, because, I mean, even though whales are a bigger species, there's something that also relies on the whales. Like, for example, if a whale dies, then there are going to be some things that rely on the carcass of the whale to live. And so the food chain is going to be broken if there are no whale carcass to eat off of, if you will.
What do you think could we possibly do that will possibly slow down whaling or stop it altogether?
I say sink a few whaling ships. I say jump into a boat, and if you see a whaling ship, first you try a bullhorn, is what I find best. So you just yell through the bullhorn, "Hey, don't whale!" And usually that stops them. But if that doesn't stop them, then what I would do is I would probably take a harpoon and harpoon them back. Because usually, once they find out how it feels, they won't do it anymore.
Alright, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just had a question on my mind.
Yeah, that happens a lot when people look at me.
Let's just get to the thing of overfishing.
Sure.
What are your opinions on overfishing, which is where you take a large amount of quantities of fish out of the ocean?
Well, too much of a good thing is always too much of a good thing. So I mean, overfishing is just like anything else. If you overfish, then you're going to have fewer and fewer again feeding into the food chain, which is important. So only take what is necessary, no more.
Alright then, how do you think overfishing affects the environment or ecosystem?
Well, same idea. I mean, the fewer fish there are available, if we take more fish than we need, then, we not only have we fulfilled our needs, but then we've gone on to wasting, in this case, fish. And those fish probably could be used better off by other species or even other people who need that fish for other reasons.
Okay, now, since all the fish are being taken out of the sea, is there any way to, help them recuperate faster than usual?
Yeah, there is. Normally what I think of doing is hugging a fish. Because, again, I find if you hug a fish, it makes the fish feel better and they will recuperate a lot faster. Either that or sometimes I find if you sit down in your boat and you tell a fish a joke, sometimes humor helps fish recuperate faster too. So I think, out of the two, I'd say hug a fish or tell a joke. And either way, you can't go wrong and the fish get better. So.
Alright then, how do you think we could do to end overfishing or possibly slow it down?
Once again, get in a raft. And whenever you see a fisherman on a lake or on the Muskingum River even, with a bullhorn, "Hey, don't overfish!" And usually that stops them. But if it doesn't, you take a rod and reel, you put some kind of a rappel on the end, and snag them. And all it takes is one snag right in the lip, and they won't ever overfish again.
Alright then, I just had the whaling question on my mind again.
That happens a lot. When you look at me, it happens. It's okay.
Just give me a minute to think here.
Sure. In the meantime, I can sing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fishy, fishy in the sea, won't you come and sing to me? Fishy, fishy, don't be so blue, because when you cry it makes me boo-boo. That's about all I have.
Alright.
But it's kind of fishy.
I just thought of my question.
Okay.
With whaling,
Oh,
what
sure.
would happen to the environment if whales were just go extinct?
Well, again, I mean, there would be no whales, and so first of all, I have to say, some of my best friends are whales, and if they were extinct, I would have no friends left, and that makes me sad. Now, besides that, I mean, obviously the impact on the environment would be huge. The idea of the fact that now, again, there's a huge rift in the ecosystem and the food chain, that it could become a really huge problem for other things, and it's just kind of a domino effect. So, while I'm concerned about that, and I am, but primarily I'm more concerned about the fact that I have no friends. And without the whales, I would be totally friendless.
Now, I've always heard that with good things come bad things,
Yes.
with bad things come good things.
You're right.
Is there any good things to whaling?
Sure. It keeps people in jobs, which is kind of important. There are some countries that is a huge part of their commerce, is that they go out and they fish whale and sell pieces and parts of the whale and things like that. So, when you do away with whaling, that's one thing that would really hurt, is some of the economies of some of the countries would not be good. Another good thing about whaling, though, is, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but a really interesting aspect of whaling is it's called non-kill whaling. And here's what it is. Non-kill whaling is when you go out and you catch a whale in a jar, and then you bring that whale home and it becomes a pet. That's, in my opinion, a great thing. Because now, not only does some nice young man have a pet, but the whale has a great home to live in. I mean, it has cable television. Does it have cable television in the ocean? No. It has the internet. Does it have the internet in the ocean? No. So there are some good things to whaling, and that's probably another one.
Alright. Now, with overfishing,
Sure.
same thing. Is there any good things to overfishing?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like a goldfish, right? I mean, come on. And so, sure, I'd feel free to overfish as much as you wanted to. Simply because there are so many great things that come out of it, like pets. And, there's nothing that warms my heart more than seeing a little boy or a little girl cuddling a fish.
Alright. I'm pretty sure we have all we have today. Thank
Sure.
you, sir.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
You too.
Okay.
Back to this interview. What, in your opinion, is the people that do the most overfishing?
Well, it's not really an opinion, but it's a fact.
Yeah.
Japan.
That's a good idea, since they live on the water and they...
Yeah, they're just an island floating on the water. Of course, they're going to be a major impact on fish and whales.
And that leading off of that could also be that the whales get caught in fishing nets that they could leave behind. And this possibly hurt the whales.
Yeah, that has a big impact. If they get caught in there, there's not much of a chance that they're going to get out of the nets. So then they just drown and die. Even though they can be underwater for hours upon hours, it takes them a long time to get out, and by the time, even if they did get out, they're weak and they'll just drown because they don't have enough strength to go back up.
So, what type of fish and whales are mostly overfished?
Well, for fish, the most overfish is tunas. Multiple different tuna fish. And then for whales, there's sperm and there's humpback. There's just, most of them are going extinct. And they're endangered right now. And then once they're gone, the whole food chain just gets...
Devontae, and I'm asking him some facts and some questions about overfishing. Now, Devontae, do you know what overfishing is?
I believe so.
Then what is it? Okay, Devontae, what is overfishing? Yeah.
I think it's when you take a population of fish out of their environment more faster than they can reproduce.
And what does this do to the environment?
It slowly deteriorates on the environment, taking away the fish to where fast enough to where they won't be able to reproduce, and eventually they're going to run out, and that will affect everything. People that eat fish, the animals that eat fish, and our other topic, whaling, because whales eat fish. That's what they rely on.
Okay. What does overfishing do to the ecosystem when they're all gone?
It's going to destroy it. I wouldn't necessarily say destroy it. I mean, it'd be a problem because, you know, fish is one of the main diet foods that people eat, and, you know, it's down. Just on the top of my head here.
Okay, what could we do to end overfishing or to majorly reduce the amount of overfishing has done?
End it?
Yeah.
End it. Enforce the laws on overfishing.
Well, what could we do to enforce the laws? Like, what would we have to do?
Make higher fines. Coast Guard. You know, they won't be able to catch everything, but they could stop some.
They can majorly reduce it. Alright. Well, thank you, Delonte, for your time.